Here we
Yeah.
go, Pisces. Yes. Okay, so Pisces, look, Saturn is going to enter your sign this March and will be there for the better part of 3 years. After which, once Saturn leaves, won't return for over 2 decades. And so you don't get many times in a lifetime, in a life well lived, that you are going to get Saturn moving through your sign. And it is always a chance to understand that you alone, in many ways, are responsible for your own happiness. It is you that, if you're happy or not, gets to decide what it's going to take to make you happy, to do the work, to move in that direction, whether that's personal, psychological, or more practical changes. And where it is that you don't have power to change something, it's up to you to decide that you're going to surrender, that you're going to either accept or move in a different direction. And that is the great life-changing lesson of having Saturn in your sign. Now, ultimately, Saturn is also about self-respect. What does it take to earn your own self-respect and to live it? You're going to get a chance to look at that as well. What I'm very excited about, though, with this is that earning your own self-respect is something that stays with you well after this transit is over. You are beginning on that journey, and you're beginning in ways that actually there are some very supportive things taking place, celestially speaking, that are going to bring with it benefits rather quickly as well. I mean, I'm thinking about the end of March. Mars in fellow water sign Cancer is going to speak in supreme harmony with that Saturn. So right away, you get this energy of a boost that energizes, that strengthens you, that helps you to feel more connected to what it's going to take for you to be happy, what you really want in your heart of hearts, and the courage to see it through in some way. It is going to be in June that we are going to have Jupiter speaking in harmony with Saturn in your sign. And this is going to be a great moment of stability, but also a moment where you are seeing things differently, like quite literally, your perception changes. You see things, perceive things very differently in a way that empowers you, where before you saw limitation, now you see possibility and opportunity. This may be a time when you are embracing sharing in bigger ways, bolder ways, perhaps expanding your social media reach or traditional reach as well. Maybe focusing in on writing your thoughts, writing a book, for example. These are just some ways in which you are understanding how to connect your unique voice and building a sense of self-respect and stability from that place in the process. Now, the Venus retrograde season, rather interestingly, for you is taking place in a part of the sky that has to do with your daily life. Being in love with your life as you move through your life is going to be a part of the energy of this time. And so, is it that you genuinely feel that day in and day out you are living in a way in your smallest moments that you feel love is there? If not, that isn't going to work for you. You're going to get honest about that and move towards creating a life lived in those smaller moments that you absolutely love. I would also add with this, earlier Tamara was talking to the Cancers out there. I'm a Cancer rising, and she was saying something about the isolation and the privacy and things like that. I think you being in love with those moments as well has been a lesson with the Mars retrograde season we're coming out of, but now feeling as if you're able to live those small moments, whether alone, others, and having love and joy there nonetheless is going to be part of the search. Romantic love, though, look, I would say clients, customers, co-workers, immediate supervisors, these are not the people to date right about now. That is where your whole world could turn upside down if you go in that direction. It's one thing to think about bosses, right? That's a different area of the chart. It's another thing to think about those coworkers, those clients, those customers. Yeah, just be mindful there of where it is that perhaps you're looking at these people romantically. Again, it's like everything coming out into the open very quickly that you want to be careful of, and things getting like misconstrued in some way that ends up not working very well for you. Outside of that, though, Chris Rock has this joke where he says in one of his previous comedy specials that Two people, what keeps people together? It's habits. Do you share habits with this person? It's very hard, right? For if one person likes crack and the other person likes to go to church, it's a very different way of living, and it's very difficult for these two people to be in a relationship. But if two people really like crack, well, it's very easy for them, right? It's a whole other thing. They're getting along great, even if they don't like each other. They're great in a relationship.
Yeah.
Like that. Think about what you actually live like. How do you actually move through your day? Having somebody who matches you on that level is going to be so important if it's going to work. What do you think, Tamara?
I won't be doing any cracking, buddy.
Yeah, right?
Actually, I love the way you put it. I love the way you put it. And here's why. Because one of the things I see about Pisces is that they will change who they are to climb a ladder. And this has been their nemesis. This has been the problem. This is how they've ended up in problem situations, because they tried to be practical. But they're a mysterious sign. They can't actually be they can't think that way and actually be practical. So I think what happens is they turn obscure situations into practical with their minds, and then in the end it comes back to bite them in the butt. So I think you're right. This year is going to be an opportunity for them to really look upon themselves, to avoid doing anything the same, because them going out with their bosses would be the same. You know what I mean? So they really do need to let that go. And I think this is going to be a good year, although they are not as happy as I'd like to see them in general. I think Pisces really needs to get underneath what makes them happy, just as you said. And it is certainly not what has been. It is not what has been. So what is it you need, Pisces? And it doesn't mean that everything has to be turned upside down to make right what you need. It doesn't. But what parts do? You're going to have to take a look at that. You need to be free. You need to be playful. You need to be able to dance. You need to be able to sing. You need to be able to be sexy. You need to let that energy flow. And if your present situation is not providing opportunities for that, if it's too sterile, if it's too square, if it's too much of that, Pisces, you're not going to be able to do it anymore. You're lying to yourself. You can't climb this ladder if they're not all doing crack with you, just like my friend said. So you all got to be doing the same kind of thing. You really need to align with people who are of the same nature as your own. It has to be this year. It has to be. No more fighting with anybody. No more putting up with it. No more changing who you are to make it work. No more changing who you are to make the money. None of it. None of it. We got to be mindful what we're saying at work, because you can get a terrible Google thing happening without even trying hard. And then all their friends can come and give you a 1-star too. So you do have to be, juggle. If you're out in the public at all, you will have to juggle it. But when you're with your friends, when with your partner, when you're with your family, be 100% you. And I promise you, Pisces, you'll feel way, way better about your life and about yourself. Spirituality is the key here. So be authentic, be spiritual with yourself, be understanding with yourself, and also kick your own butt if you start to fall back into the old patterns, because they have not proven well for you, and you might as well move on. Now, one last thing I'll say. If there's someone from your past, friend, lover, whoever it is, and you're missing them, provided it's a healthy missing, fix it. If it's an unhealthy one, fix you. Meaning get some counsel. And that's that. That's what I got.
I love it.